if you don't know any better, you buy into that stuff, like I bought into that back then. But then you start to realize something starts to eat at your gut about, well, this just doesn't feel right because I'm not being authentic, I'm not being myself.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take you're going through so much to try and deal with life.
Hollywood's golden boy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has fallen into a scandal so shocking, so unthinkable, that it has left us questioning everything we thought we knew about the man once heralded as the epitome of hard work, family values, and authenticity. How did the beloved people's champ, a man who rose from humble beginnings to become a box office titan, a motivational powerhouse, and a global brand, find himself named as Sean Diddy Combs' alleged right-hand man in one of Hollywood's darkest underworlds?
When I got to Hollywood, I was coming out of the world of professional wrestling, WWE, and I was really determined, hopefully, to have a career that had longevity, and I was willing to put in the work and commit. But what I realized at that time was there was a lot of naysayers and there was a lot of cynicism as I was getting into Hollywood, and I get it because you were successful in another place and now Hollywood comes knocking and now you want to try and come.
The allegations are as jaw-dropping as they are sinister. According to sources, Dwayne Johnson is now linked to Diddy's alleged criminal empire, a web of manipulation, coercion, and control operating in the shadows of the glitziest parties and brightest lights. The whispers are deafening. Johnson, the beacon of positivity and relentless ambition, is accused of playing an integral role in Diddy's infamous secret gatherings. These weren't just wild Hollywood parties with A-list attendees. No, according to insiders, these were something far darker. We're talking about events rumored to last for days, where the line between hedonistic indulgence and outright exploitation allegedly blurred. The so-called freak-offs, as they've been chillingly labeled, were reportedly more than just debauched celebrations. They were stages for manipulation, for collecting secrets, and for wielding power. The allegations claim that lives were destroyed at these gatherings, careers ended, reputations ruined, all under the guise of Hollywood's carefree glitz. And here's the real bombshell. Johnson wasn't just a bystander. Sources suggest he was actively involved in orchestrating these gatherings, enforcing their tight-lipped rules, and even assisting Diddy in gathering incriminating leverage on attendees.
I had three heads and I said, listen, just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means we got to figure out a different path. So ultimately, I wound up saying, look, The Rock is a pretty cool name, and I love wrestling, and I'm also proud of where I came from this world of pro wrestling, where it's my dad and my grandfather, and I have a lot of family in pro wrestling. And then this unique thing happened when I was myself, and we can apply it to...
It's a betrayal of trust that feels almost personal. For decades, Dwayne Johnson has built his empire on the foundation of trust. As a wrestler, he connected with millions as a charismatic hero in the ring. As an actor, he inspired audiences worldwide with his relentless work ethic and larger-than-life persona. And as a public figure, he positioned himself as a family man, a symbol of resilience and integrity. Could it all have been a carefully curated smokescreen? What's even more disturbing is how seamlessly Johnson's alleged involvement fits into the larger narrative of his career. Let's rewind to the beginning. Johnson didn't emerge from obscurity by chance. His rise, first as a WWE superstar and later as a Hollywood A-lister, was meteoric. But could there have been more to his ascension than meets the eye? Speculation is mounting that Johnson's trajectory might have been aided by connections to powerful, shadowy figures. Figures like Vince McMahon, a man whose name has been tangled in its fair share of controversy. McMahon, as the story goes, was instrumental in introducing Johnson to Diddy. Could this have been the moment when Johnson's image as the clean-cut hero began to unravel behind the scenes? Some insiders are now suggesting that McMahon's rumored links to morally dubious dealings may have paved the way for Johnson's entry into Diddy's inner circle. It's a connection that raises more questions than answers.
As I started to get down the road that, oh, you don't do it by yourself, because I used to be very hands-on, micromanaging, and it served me for a little while. Then I started to realize it started to be counterproductive for me. Oh, you don't do it by yourself. Bring in a team of people. Choose your enemies up, choose your partners up, people who are a lot smarter than I am.
And then there's the matter of Johnson's infamous private jet. Oh, the jet. It's been a symbol of his success, a tangible representation of his status as one of Hollywood's elite. But was it more than that? Rumors are swirling that this wasn't just a mode of luxury travel. No, it was allegedly a tool, a key piece of the puzzle in transporting handpicked guests to Diddy's notorious gatherings. Imagine it. Unsuspecting celebrities boarding Johnson's jet, thinking they were heading to a glamorous getaway, only to find themselves ensnared in a world where their actions could be recorded, documented, and used as leverage. Was Johnson complicit in setting the trap? The WWE connection looms large over this entire narrative. Wrestling, after all, is as much about performance off-camera as it is inside the ring. Johnson's wrestling persona, The Rock, was larger than life, an indomitable force who thrived in a world of drama, deception, and power plays. Could it be that the skills he honed in the ring, manipulating narratives, controlling audiences, dominating his opponents, translated into the murkier world he's now accused of inhabiting?
And you do it. And again, just as guys and women too, but I'm going to speak on behalf of dudes, like, we take accountability over a lot of things, and we go after a lot of things that are important. Success is important, and making it.
And let's not forget about the whispers surrounding his political stance. Johnson, a man who has always dodged political labels, has recently found himself at odds with both sides of the aisle. In a recent interview, he spoke about his disillusionment with cancel culture and the divisiveness of modern politics. To some, these comments were a harmless expression of frustration, but to others, they signaled something more. A subtle alignment with figures who thrive on chaos and control. Could this be a reflection of the company he's allegedly kept behind closed doors? This isn't the first time cracks have appeared in Johnson's pristine facade. Over the past few years, reports have surfaced about his alleged ego, his chronic tardiness on movie sets, and his insistence on maintaining his alpha male image at all costs. There were even whispers of unprofessional behavior during the production of films like Red, Notice, and Red 1, where insiders claimed his demands ballooned budgets and strained relationships with co-stars. Could these incidents have been early warning signs of a deeper, darker truth?
For me, when I think about this, and I think about people out there watching and listening and people who I talk to, go for it. It's going to be scary. You never know what you're going to find, but you're going to want to find it.
And then there's the private jet rumor. It's not just about the passengers, it's about the destinations, the secrecy, the purpose. Insiders claim that Johnson's jet wasn't just a convenience, it was a vessel for transporting guests to Diddy's most exclusive and controversial events. These weren't just parties, sources say, they were calculated operations. Allegedly, the jet was used to move people, supplies, and even equipment to these gatherings, all while maintaining an ironclad veil of secrecy. But here's where things take an even darker turn. If the allegations are true, Johnson didn't just participate, he played a critical role in ensuring that these events remained hidden from the public eye. Sources suggest he was instrumental in arranging locations, vetting attendees, and enforcing the unspoken rules of these gatherings. And those rules? Absolute silence. We can't help but wonder, how deep does this go? If Johnson was truly Diddy's right-hand man, what other secrets might he be hiding? Could his entire career, his meteoric rise, his squeaky clean image, his billion-dollar brand, be built on a foundation of manipulation and control?
You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far, you know? Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head, you know, but when you lose your man card.
And what about the other A-listers who have crossed paths with Dwayne Johnson? How many of them were unknowingly swept into this alleged web of deceit? Were they victims, pawns, or willing participants? The questions are endless, and the answers are terrifying to consider. For now, all we can do is wait and watch as this story continues to unfold. The allegations against Johnson have cast a shadow over his once untouchable legacy, leaving us to wonder, who is the real Dwayne Johnson? Is he the hero we've always believed in, or is he something far more sinister? One thing is certain, this is only the beginning. Diddy's freak-offs weren't just parties, they were traps. These events, carefully curated and shrouded in secrecy, allegedly became the epicenter of coercion and control in Hollywood's underbelly. Victims were reportedly lured in with promises of exclusivity and glamour, only to find themselves in situations they couldn't escape. The allegations are chilling. Women and men alike were allegedly given substances without their knowledge, manipulated into compromising acts, and covertly recorded. The purpose of these recordings? To silence, to control, and to perpetuate a cycle of fear. It's being said that even those who initially came willingly had no idea what they'd signed up for until it was far too late.
Card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying.
Take the testimony of Cassie Ventura, for instance, who has described years of psychological and physical torment at the hands of Diddy. According to legal documents, Cassie was allegedly forced to participate in sessions with strangers while Diddy watched, filmed, and directed every move. These weren't isolated incidents. They were calculated, recurring, and meticulously organized. Cassie's bravery in coming forward has opened the floodgates, and now whispers of dozens of others who endured similar horrors are surfacing. But the question remains, how many victims are still too afraid to speak? The fallout from these allegations has sparked a frenzy among Hollywood's elite. Behind closed doors, sources claim there's a bidding war brewing over who can gain control of the damning materials tied to Diddy's alleged crimes. These recordings, said to be collected over decades, reportedly include footage and audio implicating not only Diddy, but also several high-profile celebrities who attended his infamous gatherings. The stakes are unimaginably high, with some A-listers allegedly willing to pay millions of dollars to ensure their involvement never sees the light of day.
That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid,
The fight to secure these materials involves more than just money. Some insiders suggest that powerful legal teams and public relations firms have been quietly mobilized, working overtime to discredit potential leaks or suppress evidence. In this shadowy chess match, it's not just reputations on the line, it's entire careers and legacies. It's being whispered that certain stars, known for their squeaky clean public personas, are among those most desperate to bury any connection to these events. If these names were to surface, it could permanently alter Hollywood's landscape. But here's where things take an even darker turn. Competing against those trying to suppress the truth are others who reportedly see this scandal as an opportunity. Multiple streaming platforms and production studios are said to be circling the story, eager to secure the rights to potential documentaries, exposés, or dramatization. The allure of exclusive access to the tapes and first-hand accounts has triggered a frenzy among producers who know the public's appetite for Hollywood scandals is insatiable. For some, it's not about protecting anyone. It's about profiting from the chaos. Within this storm, there's also talk of whistleblowers stepping forward. Some former staff members who worked closely with Diddy are allegedly considering selling their stories to the highest bidder. These individuals, who once acted as gatekeepers to his secretive world, may hold key pieces of the puzzle. If they choose to speak out, their testimonies could verify the allegations and provide damning new details about how the freak-offs were orchestrated and how the network of enablers operate.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at. He has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now.
And yet, with every new player entering the fray, the danger to those involved grows. Legal experts warn that the bidding war itself could complicate the investigation, muddying the waters as crucial evidence changes hands or vanishes altogether. Could this scramble for control lead to even more cover-ups? Or will it ultimately bring the truth to light? As the battle rages on, one thing becomes clear. In this scandal, money, power, and influence are the ultimate weapon. This wasn't the work of one man alone. Diddy's alleged empire of exploitation was a well-oiled machine, with a network of enablers ensuring its smooth operation, from personal assistants to high-ranking executives. It's alleged that many played a role in keeping these events hidden. Sources claim that assistants were tasked with preparing hotel rooms, stocking them with supplies, substances, and items meant to enhance the experience. Security teams ensured no one left without permission, while others worked to silence potential leaks.
To not be involved, a famous singer, to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those, this is what I heard, they're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big, big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties. He was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out.
It begs the question, just how many people knew what was going on behind closed doors? And here's the chilling part. How many of them were complicit? Did they look the other way out of fear, or were they actively helping to sustain this system of control? As the investigation deepens, some of these alleged accomplices could find themselves under the same scrutiny as Diddy. Could we be on the brink of a domino effect, where the fall of one man exposes an entire network of corruption? Let's not forget the A-list names who've been linked to Diddy's parties over the years. These weren't just casual Hollywood gatherings, they were meticulously planned events with guest lists that reportedly included some of the biggest stars in entertainment. While no one is directly implicating these celebrities yet, the looming question is impossible to ignore. How many of them knew what was happening, and how many may have been victims themselves?
Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very, very powerful political figures, and entertainers, business people. So, do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein himself? And
Of course not.
Of course not.
Yeah.
And then there's the legal system, which is slowly but surely unraveling Diddy's empire. Leaked footage has already circulated, videos that allegedly show abusive behavior, explosive arguments, and moments that can only be described as horrifying. Prosecutors are reportedly analyzing mountains of evidence, from video recordings of the freak-offs to flight logs that could place key figures at these events. Financial records are also under the microscope, with investigators looking into how the alleged operation was funded and who else might have been involved. And every new revelation brings us closer to the truth, but it also raises more questions. If Diddy's alleged crimes are as extensive as they seem, how many others might be implicated? Could some of Hollywood's most untouchable names find themselves entangled in this scandal? As more victims come forward, the scale of this story is growing beyond anything we could have imagined.
Did you ever spend time with the guy? Did you ever meet Diddy?
I've met him before, yeah.
How was he?
Very nice guy, very smart, super business. You know, I mean, he's very successful.
It's not just about Diddy anymore. This investigation is shedding light on a culture of silence and complicity that stretches far beyond one man. If the allegations are true, then we're looking at a system that allowed these horrors to continue unchecked for years. The industry's biggest power players are now under the microscope, and no one knows who might be named next. And what about Dwayne Johnson? His alleged role as Diddy's right-hand man has cast a shadow over his once untouchable image. If the rumors are true, then Johnson didn't just attend these events, he helped organize them, enforce their secrecy, and transport unsuspecting participants. Could Johnson's involvement be the key to uncovering the full scope of Diddy's network? Or is he just the tip of the iceberg? As investigators dig deeper, the floodgates are opening. Victims who've stayed silent for years are finally finding the courage to speak out, and their stories are painting a picture of manipulation, fear, and betrayal. But with every new accusation, the stakes get higher. How far will this scandal reach? And how many lives will be forever changed as the truth comes to light? We have to ask ourselves, what happens when the veil is lifted from Hollywood's glittering facade? Are we ready to face the possibility that some of our most beloved stars might be implicated in this dark web of secrets? And if they are, will they come forward to clear their names, or will they fall with Diddy?
I'll tell you, I don't know how much, I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it. That there's a little difference, you know. But was it discussed? Was there descriptions from people I know that were at those? Yes, but here's another thing. So how many of these big entertainment parties and over the years and everything with as successful as you are, have you been around? Does anyone ever come up to you at a certain hour and say, okay, it's time to go? At those parties they did.
One thing is certain, this story is far from over. As more evidence emerges and more victims find their voices, the ripple effects of this scandal could shake the entertainment industry to its very core. So what do you think? Could this be the beginning of Hollywood's most explosive downfall yet? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more updates as this jaw-dropping story continues to unfold. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, because in Hollywood, nothing stays hidden forever.